Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird, it's dark, it's your kind of vibe.
Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal.
I don't know.
What's up?
I don't know either. That's a good way to start this episode. We don't know. We kind of know. We sometimes know. I don't know.
Do we though?
Are you okay?
No. Courtney's cold. It's apparently cold in here. It's really chilly
cold.
in here. I don't know what's going on. It's really cold in here today.
I'm under the vent.
That, and I think it's because it's like really nasty outside. It's overcast. It's dark. It's not hot.
Yeah, it's supposed to storm tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's that. Huh?
Huh?
I'm good. How are you? I said, how are you?
Oh.
Mine's being polite today.
How do you feel?
We feel tired
Oh, y'all want to be nice today?
and cold. And I never know if y'all are talking to us or talking to each other. Is there's like something y'all can do to let us know so like we're not answering also?
Come closer.
Is there something that y'all can do to let us know who you're talking to? Am I close enough?
No way.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to be how today's going. Check out our sponsor. Hey guys,
What's up?
we are going to talk to you about something called HauntFest. Super excited. We are partnering with them
What?
for all of their little events. So HauntFest is crawling back from the darkness, bringing more mayhem, monsters, and madness each year.
Step through the gates and into a fully immersive world of horror art, live music, spooky vendors, themed entertainment, and eerie activities lurking around every corner. Depending on the event, you may find axe throwing, trivia, animal encounters, rage rooms.
Ooh.
I need to do a rage room. Photo ops, food and drink, ghost stories, freak shows, hay rides, haunted attractions, and more. Some locations even feature camping, after-hour parties, and other exclusive surprises.
Our characters, awesome name by the way, that is so cute.
I know, right?
Roam the grounds hunting for fresh screams. If you're easily spooked, grab a Ghoul Gone Glow bracelet at the gate to help keep the beasts at bay. Which is cute. You know, people have like autism and stuff and their little or kids are scared. I love that they do stuff like that.
My old roommate wanted one for when we went to Terror on the Coast.
Nice. So yeah, HauntFest, they're taking everybody into consideration. Pre-sale tickets start at a killer price. For the full nightmare experience, upgrade to the RIP Pass for exclusive perks. Season passes are now also available, granting access to any HauntFest event throughout the whole entire year.
Whether you're a thrill seeker, a horror fanatic, an Addams family, or simply dead inside,
That's me.
like Lauren, HauntFest is where Halloween never dies.
This is my jam.
Slip on your monster skins and join us for a weekend of scares, screams, and unforgettable memories.
Join HauntFest at the 2026 premiere of Death March at Trim Tab Brewing Company in Birmingham, Alabama. The thrills begin at 2 p.m. on March 7th and 8th, with the event ending at midnight on Saturday and 8 p.m. on Sunday.
And then HauntFest is back for its 4th annual Athens, Georgia event, April Ghouls, at Terrapin Beer Company on April 11th and 12th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Throw on a costume and boogie at our new at our new Dead Man's Party from 10 p.m. to midnight on Saturday.
I'm loving all these names.
I
It's
know,
great. HauntFest returns to historic Hopkins Farm in Simpsonville, South Carolina for a September to Dismember on September 25th and 26th from 5 p.m. to midnight on Friday and 2 p.m. to midnight on Saturday. Hopkins Haunted Attraction will feature a sneak peek walkthrough haunt for the event, which will open at 7:30 p.m. each night and is included in your festival entry ticket. A September to Dismember will be a full-fledged weekend festival with vendors, live music, themed entertainment, and much more. Prepare for a dead man's party.
This November, join us for some post-Halloween thrills at the premiere of HauntFest Harvest of Horrors at Bobby Brown Park in Elberton, Georgia. The magic begins at 5 p.m. on the 6th and 2 p.m. on the 7th, continuing until the clock strikes midnight. Camping, yurts, movie screenings, bouncy houses, and more are offered at this venue. If you're a raging psychopath,
I am.
sign up to sleep in our Night Terrors camping area where our ghouls can creep around your tent after hours until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning.
That sounds so fun, guys.
To take a first look at the venue, come to our free On the Water Sink or Swim horror movie promo event on July 25th. For more information, to get involved, or to buy tickets, visit hauntfest.net.
Guys, do it. Okay, love you. Bye.
Do it.
Go see them if you can.
Rage room.
Enjoy the rage room. Enjoy the characters. Enjoy the camping.
Very much. Yes,
Yes.
I need to do a rage room very much.
Very much.
It's been a stressful month already.
My elbow keeps farting. Sorry, guys. It has gas. So, I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. Because that's what we do. Okay,
So I have the Ancient Ram Inn.
okay.
So in the English County, Gloucestershire,
Traveling.
in the town.
We're traveling, yes.
I spelled traveling wrong.
Huh?
How do you spell traveling?
Lightning.
Spell traveling.
Traveling.
This bitch put 2 L's.
Traveling. Lightning? Is it? It might be lightning. It's gonna rain.
I don't know. Looked fine when I moved my car.
I don't know.
In the town Wanton Under Edge, nearby Potter's Pond, you'll find an incredibly old inn.
Okay.
It used to be a pub, but in 1968, it was turned into a bed and breakfast by John Humphreys, who died December 12th, 2017, at the age of 89.
Okay. So this is like a more recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's Ghost Adventures. The inn was his. Hey, I haven't had a Ghost Adventures.
I was gonna say we haven't had it in a while. I guess I can deal with it.
I don't think I've had one this year yet. This is my first one this year for Ghost Adventures. The inn was his life.
I think we've had some, like 1 or 2 maybe, and it hadn't been a lot, but it's been a couple.
Oh yeah. The inn was his life, even though some of his supernatural residents didn't mind him leaving. So
Okay.
the inn was built in 1145 as a keeping house for slaves and workers who were constructing the local St. Mary's Church.
Okay.
After they left, it became the home of a priest. It has had many different owners and functions ever since.
Okay.
From 1930, the house.
Questionably.
Okay.
From 1930, the house was privately owned. It was Maurice the Bath who bought and restored it, and then
Some like to call me Maurice.
America.
Yes.
and then the inn was sold to Mr. Humphreys in 1968 for the sum of
Basement.
£600.
Okay.
Humphreys dedicated his life restoring and preserving the inn.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to look up how much pounds is in American money.
It's like $1.25, I think, but in like the 80, how much was it?
2,600 pounds.
Absolutely not.
Rude. 2006, what?
2,600 pounds.
So today it would be about 59,000 pounds.
How much is that in American money?
About 67,000. So it's about $1.25.
What's here?
Is London here?
Success.
Success.
So first we're going to take a closer look at Gloucestershire. So the Ram...
Who?
Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
My thoughts exactly. I was literally about to say, yep.
I like how my ghost agrees with me. Okay.
No, she didn't agree with you. She was like, whatever you said.
Yeah. So the Ram Inn is a haunted hotspot, but there are more places... Are more places in this county where ghosts like to reside in.
Okay.
So the Woodchester Mansion and St. Brivel's Castle are infested with ghosts as well. Coincidence? Perhaps, but there might be a connection between these 3 locations.
Okay.
So, archaeologically seen, the ancient Ram Inn lies in a very special spot.
Okay.
It's located directly on the crossroad of two ley lines.
Oh.
I see you too. A ley line is a straight line that one can draw through several places of geological and spiritual importance.
Yep.
Like prehistoric burial grounds and mystical places like stone circles, as well as ancient churches and cathedrals. One of the ley lines that cross the ancient Ram Inn crosses the center of the Stonehenge. The other one can be traced through Glastonbury Tor, and so ley lines are energy tracks. People say that the ancient energy of Stonehenge feeds the paranormal activity in the places on that line. And then there is the fact that the inn is built right on top of a 5,000-year-old pagan burial ground.
Okay. Well, that changes things.
So Mr. Humphreys has put his entire soul and bliss into his inn. Nevertheless, after a few years, the place was no longer suitable as a normal bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Simply because it had gotten far too dangerous. Only ghost hunters, mediums, and people who love the paranormal are willing to spend the night there. And you can for 25 to 30 pounds a night.
Okay.
So, fortunately, not all the ghouls are evil at the ancient Ram Inn. There are some good spirits, too. Like the spirit of a 15th century woman who was sentenced to death because she was accused of witchcraft. She tried to escape her destiny by taking refuge in a room at the inn. Unfortunately, she was discovered and she was burned at the stake.
Oh.
She doesn't mean any harm, even though she doesn't like to be called a witch.
Because they didn't burn witches, they burned women.
Mm-hmm. Her spirit still lingers in what today is called the witch's room. A black cat also haunts this room. It might have been the witch's cat, but it also might be the 500-year-old mummified cat Mr. Humphreys found inside the wall.
Okay.
Having a dead cat inside your wall was looked upon as a lucky charm, apparently. The ghost of a young girl is often seen behind this room's window. She's waving to
don't understand. I want to stay.
Okay.
No one told you to leave!
Yeah,
She's waving to everyone who sees her. Also, the spirits of former owners like hanging around in the sitting room.
Okay.
So, now we're going to talk about some dark practices. So, during the renovation of the inn's basement, Mr. Humphreys accidentally dug up a grave with several child skeletons at the foot of the staircase.
Nope. You can stop there. No more. I'm done.
These
My
children,
turn. My turn.
I'm internal. What do you mean you're internal?
My turn. It's my turn.
These children were probably
No.
the victims of ritual sacrifice.
No.
The broken knives were still inside their little bodies. That might also explain the sound of childlike crying throughout the entire inn.
Nope.
When stuffed animals were put all over the place, the crying became less, but it never completely vanished.
No.
Also, the spirit of a young girl by the name of Rosie has been seen floating through the hallways.
No.
I want to talk.
So, you've been talking. Quit interrupting.
No. See what they got to say. What you got to say?
Fine, talk. What you want?
What do you want to talk about?
What you want?
I can't leave.
You don't have to leave. Nobody's kicking you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You good with that? Okay. I guess we're good.
The pagan rituals might have opened the portal for dark energy, so be cautious.
Okay.
Mr. Humphreys himself has had some unpleasant encounters with his paranormal housemates. The very first night he stayed over, he was pulled from his... Him? Who's him?
Mr. Humphreys.
Oh. He was pulled from his bed by the arm of unseen force.
Nope. He's trying to drag you up a wall.
His bedroom was also terrorized by a poltergeist who kept banging on his window. The bed dragging stopped when John Humphreys placed an enormous wooden crucifix in his bedroom. The banging on the window never truly ceased because that simply moved on to another room.
Okay.
His wife and daughter Caroline refused to stay at the inn, and they moved to another house. Who will touch me?
That demon was like, not this room, got it.
And they moved to another house, leaving John up there by himself.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
John never once thought about leaving the inn, even though he was alone. And so Mr. Humphreys loved putting antiques in his inn. So when he found an antique painting of one pastor, John Wesley,
Don't understand.
he was really pleased.
Torment.
But when he tried hanging the painting in the stairwell, all hell broke loose.
Do we know?
Pathetic.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Do we know what's attached to antique items, or are we just dumb? This wasn't in the 1600s. This man just died in 2017. So he knows what's attached to antiques.
He just loves antiques.
And then he wants to know why it's haunted? with demons.
Well, he knew that the place was already haunted. He knew that shit.
So he's just bringing more?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to end up with a Dybbuk box.
I mean, he's dead now, but...
What's going to end up with a Dybbuk box?
Doors that had been closed for years swung open and slammed shut, and there was banging on all the windows.
See?
His daughter's dog didn't even dare enter the stairwell when the painting was up. That dog said, "Fuck that stairwell. I ain't going."
The dog said, no.
I'm moving.
Yeah, the dog said, I'm moving.
To make things worse, there was
Why
also...
did they take the dog with them?
I don't know, I guess they figured he needed somebody since he was by himself.
Okay, whatever.
Unquestionably.
All
Or
right,
I guess
thanks.
unless, like, they was, like, so, like, come visit him.
And
Like,
just the dog would visit, come with them.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like, because if it's me and my dog, I'm not leaving my dog. It's coming with me. I don't give a fuck if
Yeah.
you're lonely.
It's,
Figure it
it's
out.
probably, like, when they, like, would visit, because I'm pretty sure they would still, like, come visit.
If you're
They just-
lonely, get a friend.
Yeah.
Not me.
To make things worse, there were also an incubus and a succubus at the inn.
Oh.
In fact, these demons were the reason why the inn was no longer fit as bed and breakfast.
Okay.
So the incubus is a male sex demon who took advantage of female visitors.
Yep.
And then the incubus feeds on female hormones while he crawls in bed with them.
Yep.
The succubus is a similar demon, but female. She feeds on male hormones.
Yep.
Some people even jump from the windows to escape these demons.
Oh, no.
And John Humphrey shared his room with an incubus till his death.
I will never jump out of a window to avoid having sex, okay? I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there. I mean, unless it's like unwanted sex, which I guess with like a demon it would be, but it's just a little extreme.
So there's a few different rooms. So first, the room of the bishop.
Touch you.
Yeah. So we have the room of the bishop. So warning signs and
He'll probably touch you too.
Biblical passages seem to go hand in hand at the inn. The most haunted room is the bishop's room on the first floor. No less than 9 entities reside here in that room.
In one room, okay.
In one room.
How many entities reside in here? If one of you could answer me, because mine's quiet again.
A friendly ghost is all that of a small Cavalier King Charles dog. Some bishops...
Hotel.
Yeah, it's a hotel.
Some bishops and nuns are also seen and felt. It is believed that devil worship took place here. Some people
Okay.
claim to have been lifted by something unseen and thrown across the room. The bed also tends to levitate.
Okay.
Often the screams of a man who died because his head was pushed into the fireplace are heard.
Oh, no.
Also, the spirit of a young woman is seen. She appears from the ceiling,
No.
upside down,
No.
hanging by her legs.
No. Immediately, no. No, thank you.
A Roman centurion has appeared on horseback right through the walls of the bishop's room, completely terrifying 2 working plumbers.
Yeah.
So now we have the attic.
Ugh, okay.
So sounds of something heavy being dragged
Shop.
are heard from up there. Supposedly a former owner's daughter was murdered here by hanging about 500 years ago.
Okay.
Caroline Humphreys used the attic as her bedroom, and you cannot go all the way to the back because of its unstable floor.
Okay.
So now we have the kitchen. So when an 18-year-old man entered this room during a ghost hunt, he was forcibly thrown against the wall by an unseen force.
Okay.
That also happened to Mr. Humphreys.
Okay.
A young couple ran from the kitchen in utter panic when they saw the spirit of a woman come up from the kitchen floor. Later, a woman and her baby was found buried at the same spot.
Oh, no.
Behind the bar that's adjoined to the kitchen, another young woman is buried. She presented herself many times to Humphrey's daughter as Elizabeth. She told her she was murdered by a highwayman, and the space between the roof was used as a hiding space by 2 highwaymen. So they think perhaps one of them murdered this poor woman.
Okay. What's a highwayman?
Rob-
Just like a traveler, or
That's what they called people who would like travel and rob people.
okay,
He would like
jump trains and
he-
shit.
Yeah, he would
Okay.
rob them on the highway.
Gotcha. Huh? Highway robbery. Yeah. Okay.
And then we have the barn.
Okay.
The 18th century barn is haunted by a 7-foot tall dark figure.
No.
He's violent and aggressive towards men, but favors a certain type of female. He pick you his females. This dark shadow
Okay.
appears in the doorway of the barn as if it's protecting something.
What kind of female does he prefer?
It didn't say. He just
Okay.
has a certain type
Has
of
a
female.
type.
He has
I
a
mean,
type.
everybody has a type, so.
Yes. So the ancient ram in today. So after John Humphreys died in 2017, his daughter Caroline has taken over her father's legacy. And ghost hunters and people interested in this very interesting place are welcome. So now we talk about my favorite thing, ghost adventures.
Pickle bites.
And they actually talked to John Humphreys.
Before he died, obviously.
Because, yeah, this is...
What is that?
Oh, that's the pizza.
Oh,
I'm
I was
like,
like,
what
what
the
is that?
So they interviewed longtime owner John Humphreys. And, of course, and then that's when he says he claims he was dragged out from bed by an unseen force. He has seen shadow figures. He found human remains under the building.
That'll do it.
And then so for the interview, one of the creepiest parts, it was creepy because Humphreys appears both calm and deeply disturbed by his experiences. He's just like talking about them, but he's like, yeah, this happened to me.
Okay.
And they're like, are you okay? Like, the fuck?
Do you need a therapist? What's happening right now?
They're like, do you need to get out? Like the fuck?
Yeah.
So they go in the bishop's room. So where's your jacket?
I don't know. It's summertime. I don't need my jacket in here. I don't know why it's so cold in here today.
Do you need the blanket?
No.
Okay.
I have my shirt.
Okay.
I'm holding my titties and they're warm, so.
Okay, so they go in the bishop's
Keep
room.
recording.
That ghost is like, we're on a time crunch. Fucking hurry up.
Damn, okay. So they go in the bishop's room. So Zach and Nick begin with a controlled EVP session. They ask, who's in this room with us? So they get silence at first, and then a faint response later that they didn't catch like with their ears, but like when they were reviewing
when
later.
they're reviewing the
They hear,
document.
leave.
Get the fuck out. I would say the same thing if Zach
And-
Bagel Bites was in my space.
What makes this notable is timing. So the response comes right after Zach challenges the entity, suggesting intelligent interaction. So like Zach's challenging it, of course, like normal, and they get go away, leave.
What's the other guy's name?
Nick,
No,
Aaron.
that one. Yeah, Zach challenges it to touch Aaron. Zach's never like, come at me, bro. Zach's like, oh, if you're a big bad man and you hate men, do something to Aaron. And Aaron's like, what the fuck? Always.
Zach feels pressure pushing down on his chest. Breathing becomes shallow, and this mirrors reported attacks in that room, like sleep paralysis cases.
How come?
Because it does? Like, what kind of question is that?
And then Nick reports feeling watched from the corner of the room. Keeps turning toward the same dark area repeatedly. He's like, there's fucking something there.
Hello?
And one of the static cams captures a dark human-sized shadow mass moving horizontally across the room.
Do you want it?
No, I don't want it.
Do you want the shadow man? No, thank you. I'm not that desperate. Thanks.
And it doesn't reflect light like a person would.
No.
And so the crew treats this as a possible full-body shadow entity,
Lower
not
your
just
voice.
not. What the fuck,
Sensible.
bitch? What kind of ghost are you today?
She said,
I remember you.
lower your voice when you were talking to me.
Who
Be
the-
more sensible.
Who the fuck is you?
She said, lower your voice.
Are you? This is not a fucking library, you bitch. Okay. So now they go to the witch's room, and they have some escalation.
Oh, God.
So temperature drops rapidly within seconds. Aaron notes, quote, it feels like the air got thick. EMF goes from baseline to sudden spikes without any equipment nearby.
Okay.
Nick is alone briefly. He suddenly jerks back and says, something just grabbed my arm.
Better than sass, I guess.
And camera shows immediate redness forming on his skin.
Okay.
And then Zach asked, what happened to the women who stayed here? And when they played back, it reveals a whisper. It reveals a whisper burned.
I'm close.
What makes this compelling is that it directly matches the legend of the accused witch.
Gotcha.
So then they go to the attic, where there's peak intensity. So this is where the investigation becomes chaotic.
Okay.
So Aaron is visibly nervous before entering.
Poor Aaron.
How come?
She's getting to it.
Shut up! Zach says the energy feels oppressive, like something doesn't want us here.
That's why.
They run a spirit box session, rapid radio scanning.
Mm-hmm.
They captured evil, super clear. Like this comes through distinctly and without overlap. Like they get it straight
Evil.
And so Aaron gets attacked in the attic. Aaron suddenly reacts. My back is burning. They lift his shirt. 3 long stretch marks appear. Important detail is the scratches were not there minutes earlier on camera. Immediate links it to demonic oppression symbolism. 3 scratches is the mocking of the Trinity.
Yep. I was going to say, because if it's like a human hand, it would be 4.
Yeah.
It's always 3. Always.
As they attempt to leave, a loud bang crash echoes through the attic. All 3 react instantly, and they can't find a visible source. And the sound is picked up on multiple audio sources, ruling out mic interference.
Okay.
So then, final group session. All 3 reports sudden anxiety spikes, feeling unwelcome, and difficulty focusing is what all 3 of them are like describing the place.
Right.
Surgeon.
Aaron says he feels like something is following him between rooms. Zach asks, who is here with us right now? They get, you know. This is interpreted as either a mocking response or something aware of their investigation.
Okay.
And they've decided that the whole place is fucking haunted.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, yeah.
Oh, we're done. A peace out, Girl Scout.
But yeah, so that's it on the Ancient Ram Inn.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I don't like it. Don't like any of it. So...
Yes,
yeah,
it's haunted. It's very haunted.
So we're going to kind of shift gears just a little bit. And we're going to talk about something that happened in Mississippi.
What?
Yes, in Pascagoula.
It says plausible.
It is, yes, it happened. And very, very well documented, might I add.
Quit saying burnt.
Talking about the witch. Maybe the witch is here. Like, hey, I was burned. How you doing? So... again, we're going to talk about the UFO sighting in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It's often called the Pascagoula Abduction because it wasn't just a sighting of a UFO. It was actually an abduction. And the interesting thing about this particular story is I worked with the either great nephew or great great nephew of the oldest man in this story.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Initially, I was going to have him, like, come on and talk, but he says their family really doesn't talk about it, and then I quit almost a year ago, and so, like, I've had no contact with him since.
Okay.
But we were talking, and I was talking about, like, the podcast and everything back before we restarted it, and he was like, oh, yeah, you know, if you cover, like, weird things, look up that Pascagoula UFO site. I'm like, yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard podcasts about it. I've watched videos. I've watched interviews. I've known about it. I've lived here my entire life. Of course, I know about this. And he's like, yeah, that's like my great uncle. And I'm like, really? It was interesting. He's like, yeah, our family doesn't talk about it. I mean, and I get it.
We don't talk about
it.
No.
Yeah, I get it. So, this happened on October 11th of 1973 when Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker said they encountered a strange craft while fishing on the west bank of the Pascagoula River near Pascagoula, Mississippi. The case became one of the most famous UFO reports in U.S. history because the story was reported immediately, investigated quickly, and amplified by national media within days. This blew up so big. It is still commemorated locally, and it is. Pascagoula later installed a historic marker at Lighthouse Park, and the city and local groups continued to treat the event as a defining part of local lore. I think there's like a memorial there, like a plaque or something, and I think it has a UFO on it. I don't remember.
I've never really gone to Pascagoula. So.
I've gone through Pascagoula, but there's like nothing in Pascagoula for me. So, like, the biggest thing about Pascagoula is, like, that's where Ingalls is. The shipyard, so.
Like how you bitches are quiet when she talks, but the freaking I'm talking, y'all fucking can't shut up.
I don't know. Charles E. Hickson Sr. was born in Jones County, Mississippi on April 16th, 1931 to Robert and Vina Hickson. His obituary states that he served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War and was awarded 5 major battle stars, an achievement he was said to have taken great pride in, which, of course, yes. He later lived in Goshen, Mississippi, and by the time of the 1973 incident, he was an older, seasoned working man compared with Parker, because Parker was much younger. His obituary also notes small but humanizing details that make him easier to picture outside of the UFO story. He loved fishing, and he was a loyal New Orleans Saints fan. So, unfortunately, because when this story blew up, that's all people knew him as.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and just like the last story, they are more than their one event in their life.
Yeah.
They're far more than that. So by October of 1973, Hickson was in his early 40s, according to contemporaneous reporting at the time of the incident, though later obituary records make it clear that he was born in 1931 and would have been exactly 42, which is early 40s, right? 42 is in your early 40s.
Yeah.
So his personality shaped how people perceived him after the sighting. In later press coverage, Hickson came across as the sturdier of the two witnesses, more willing to speak publicly, more capable of retelling the story again and again, and more comfortable facing reporters and television cameras. Reuters, reporting on his death in 2011, noted that despite enduring ridicule, he, quote, never backed off the story. The stories never changed from either of them. Now, Parker didn't talk about it like Hickson did. Hickson was like all about like interviews and TV shows. Parker was like, no. It changed both of them.
Yeah.
One became like loud and vocal about it. The other one was like more reclusive. But their stories never changed, not even the slightest detail. It was the same across the board for many, many years. And the Associated Press similarly reported that Hickson never regretted the notoriety, and he kept telling the story until he died. So he was like, hell yeah, I'm famous, cool. Hickson also became the more public face of the case in the years immediately after the sighting. Reuters notes that he appeared on national television, including The Dick Cavett Show, and later published a 1983 book, UFO Contact at Pascagoula. In other words, although the two men entered the story together, Hickson became its principal public narrator for decades, while Parker largely retreated from the spotlight. Again, he just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And in like a lot of the interviews, or like the newer interviews that you see, he's finally starting to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they kind of explain like his I think it's his wife, now wife, because he wasn't married at the time. She's like, you know, this it really changed him.
Mm-hmm.
It might be his sister, cousin, I don't know who it was, but she's like, you know, it really changed him, and he struggles to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think like nightmares and shit still happen because he's still pretty young. Calvin Parker was much younger. Contemporary and retrospective sources usually place him around 19, although some sources say 17. But he was clearly much younger in comparison than Hickson. Parker later said the event turned his life upside down and that he never wanted the attention that followed. And that's true. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He didn't want to do any shows. He didn't want to do any interviews. He didn't want to be in any magazines. He wanted to completely separate himself from what happened. He tried to avoid the spotlight for decades because the incident unnerved him, and the media frenzy swarmed the shipyard where they worked, Ingalls. Mm-hmm. The public record on Parker's early life is thinner than it is for Hickson, mainly because Parker was 19. He didn't really, you know, at 19, you haven't really done a lot. WLOX reported on Parker's death in 2023, so he is unfortunately has passed on. He died August 24th of 2023 after a long battle with kidney cancer. He was at home and surrounded by loved ones, including his wife, Waynette. And basically, he carried that heavy burden of what happened to him, like, up until he died. Like, on his deathbed, it was still something that he was probably more, not comfortable with, but, like, come to terms with it than he was decades earlier, but still something that, like, shook him to his core. Yeah. Local coverages says Parker stayed publicly quiet until 2018 when he released Pascagoula, The Closest Encounter, My Story. WLOX's 50-year retrospective says he, quote, didn't talk publicly about it until 2018. And the 2023 death notice emphasizes that both Parker and Hickson wrote books, but Parker's came much later in life, just because it took him that long to be okay with it. It just took him that long. And that could be just because, Hickson was much older, more lived. He had more life experience. So he may have been able to work through what happened easier and quicker than someone who is young and just starting out and not really knowing how to emotionally regulate and, do things like that. So by the end of his life, Parker had become more visible in Pascagoula. He attended the 2019 unveiling of the historical marker and spoke emotionally about what that recognition meant after years of ridicule. He said, quote, "It is emotional for me," and even added that he wished he could be buried under the plaque. That quote is revealing because it suggests the local acknowledgement was not just tourist color to him. It felt like vindication and closure, because anytime you hear about a UFO sighting or an abduction, people look at you like you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, really? You got abducted? Okay, you were just drunk and passed out and had a really vivid dream. Something like that. So why were these two men out at the same time fishing together? Well, they worked together. And they had family relations, Many accounts describe them as relatives, coworkers, or both, and place them at or near the shipyard work on the coast, which again is Ingalls. Yeah. Their shared background as local blue-collar men is one of the reasons their report landed so powerfully, because normally you don't hear about it from people like that. It's like just some like crazy crackhead or some meth head at the Shell station across from the Beau Rivage saying they saw a UFO or something. They were not occultists. They didn't believe in witchcraft or paganism or Satan. They were mildly religious because it's Mississippi. They were not in college. Yeah. They weren't just pulling somebody's leg. They were two people from two completely different eras, two completely different lifestyles, and they had the same story. So that's like one of the reasons why this was like so not believable, but like believable, I guess. Yeah. Just like this is why it was so important. So again, like they were two completely different people. Hickson, the older man, he was older, tougher, and more verbally assertive, so he was sure of himself, as older men tend to be. Parker again was younger, more frightened, and later said the whole thing derailed his life, which I can imagine. And that's one of the main reasons is because they did hail from two different backgrounds. They were not on the same playing field, is why it's a little more believable. Yeah. Like, this wasn't a joke. This wasn't something they just sat there drinking a beer and concocted. Like, hey, let's, because over time, that story would break down. Yeah. Over time, there would be some kind of deviation from the story. Over time, especially in 2011 when Hickson died, if something were incorrect or it didn't happen, what would stop Parker from being like, this was bullshit? Yeah. Even up until his death 2-3 years ago. Exactly. Everything stayed the same. So,
y'all are fucking quiet. Yeah, bitches.
On the night of October 11th of 1973, the encounter unfolded during the 1973 UFO flap, a period when UFO reports were surging across the American South. That matters because Pascagoula did not happen in total isolation. It landed in a moment where UFOs were already in the air culturally and in the news. So that kind of is like one of the things that the skeptics are saying against this case is there was already national news about UFOs being everywhere. So it wasn't an isolated incident. It was like it was visioned here. It was seen there. They saw it here. They saw it there. So it was just like mass hysteria kind of thing. And that's kind of what they use like as an argument against this being real. So, despite that, the Pascagoula report became one of the most famous reportings because of, again, they did report it immediately. They didn't wait like weeks or anything like that. The sheriff's office took it seriously initially, and they did what they had to do. They did their due diligence. So according to the men's account, they were fishing off of a pier on the west side of the Pascagoula River near the shipyard area when they heard a strange sound. They described it as a whirring, zipping, or screeching noise. Like meow.
Yeah, which is normally what you hear with UFOs.
Sting. Yeah. Like, the UFO noise.
Yeah.
Pew, pew. And then they're like lasers. Pew, pew, pew.
Pew pew.
Yes. So, turning, they said they saw a hovering, brightly lit object. Reuters summarized it as a cigar-shaped UFO with flashing blue lights. Others summarize it basically as an oval or football shape, just like, what a UFO looks like. Roughly 30 to 40 feet long. I don't know how they can tell that. Like, if I'm looking at something in the sky, I don't know how many feet that is. The difference in shape description are worth noting because they show how accounts of unusual objects often stabilize around a family of descriptions rather than one perfectly fixed technical image. So it was like, looks like a cigar, looks like an oval, looks like a football. They're all in like a general shape, but it varies. Yeah. Like an oval, that could be really fat or really skinny. A football is like fat in the middle and skinny on the end, and a cigar is oval, but it's like thin oval. So it varies, but it's oval-esque.
Yeah.
The men said that a door or opening appeared and
fuck no.
Three beings emerged, or like, hey, come here.
No.
These beings became one of the case's most memorable elements. Hickson's descriptions often emphasized their strange, almost robotic appearance, wrinkled or grayish skin, claw or pincher-like hands, and a floating or gliding movement rather than normal walking. Which, like, in shows, like, you see aliens walking like humans. Like, why do you think they would walk like humans?
Exactly.
Dogs don't walk like humans.
No.
Cats don't walk like humans. Some humans don't even walk like humans.
No.
Why would you think aliens just automatically walk like a human because they're on Earth?
Yeah.
They're obviously not trying to fit in, otherwise they would be wearing a human suit.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so making them look like they're walking robotically or like floating makes a lot more sense to me than, they were walking like a human. No, the fuck they weren't.
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
They're not fucking human.
Yeah. Later retellings often call them robotic, and WLOX, which is a news outlet down here in the South, just in case you guys didn't know, summarized the event by saying that there were, quote, 3 beings on board that carried the men onto the safe ship to examine them. They were like, come here, let me look at you.
No.
And I was like, no, thank you. But they're like, just kidding, we're taking you. So they kidnapped them. In the core version of the story, both men were somehow immobilized or paralyzed and taken aboard the craft. Once inside, they said they were examined. Reuters said they told authorities that they were placed on a table and examined before being released. Some later versions add details about a large eye-like device or scanning apparatus. The broad narrative, though, stayed stable. Strange sounds, luminous craft, 3 beings, involuntary movement into the object, examination, and then finally their release. One of the most contested details is Parker's condition during the event. Some accounts say he was conscious and terrified. Others, including skeptical retellings, say he initially claimed to have fainted or blacked out during at least part of the experience. And that matters because it became a key point, for later skeptics, who argue that if Parker lost consciousness, his corroboration was weaker than it first appeared. So, like, if you blacked out and lost consciousness, like, how are you going to be able to say, that's what happened?
Yeah.
Because you can't. WLX's later summary says the men reported that the ordeal lasted about 30 minutes before they were returned to the riverbank and the craft departed. Whether that duration was exact or an estimate, it's impossible to know, but fits a recurring pattern in close encounter stories. Usually when you're abducted, it's like less than an hour, they bring you back. But an hour in human time...
They bring us back in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, they were like, you talk too much, go away. The 30 minutes in human time could be different, like on a spaceship. Yeah. It could be different. So we really don't know. And I guess like maybe they didn't look at a watch or like we got abducted at 7:32 p.m. We got brought back at 8:02 p.m.
Yeah.
You don't know. And unfortunately right now they're both deceased, so you really can't know anything. So one of the reasons the Pascagoula case became so durable is that the men reported it almost immediately. After the encounter, they initially went looking for news media at a local paper, which probably was maybe the Sun Herald. I don't know what papers were in that area, but Sun Herald is usually the paper people down here. Then they ended up at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Reuters reports that Hickson feared people would, quote, laugh me out of Jackson County, and that the reluctance is echoed in the early interview record. The speed of the report is often cited by believers as a sign that they were not crafting a long, polished tale. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If you are trying to fake something this extreme, I would think it would take more than 30 minutes to an hour to concoct a story and make it so believable that your story does not change over decades.
Yeah.
Now, if you waited 3 or 4 months to report it, yeah. But immediately, within hours maybe, no. The sheriff's office initially suspected a prank. Captain Glenn Ryder and other officers questioned them, and in one of the most famous moments in UFO history, investigators left the men alone in a room while secretly recording them, apparently hoping to catch them dropping the act. Instead, and I've seen these interviews, it's crazy. Like, they really look distraught and shooken up. Like, it's not a fucking act. You can look at these two people and tell that they have been through something that they can't explain. Like, I've seen it. It is, or I've heard it. It's, you can tell. And even in like the interviews, you can tell. Like, even though in the one who
Hickson?
Hickson, in those interviews, like, he's more open about it, but you can tell that he is still like deeply disturbed. Instead, the tape preserved two frightened men talking to each other when they believed the formal questioning had paused. They were talking about what happened.
Yeah.
Like, they were discussing everything, like, terrified. They weren't like, hey, they believed it. We got off with this. You know, it wasn't nothing like that.
Yeah.
NICAP's transcription of that material emphasizes how quickly the recording was made and describes the two as near collapse. Like, they were scared.
Yeah.
The hidden recording became central to the legend. On it, Hickson is heard saying things that sounded less like performance than shock, including his repeated insistence that he knew how unbelievable it sounded. The appeal of the tape is obvious. If the men were acting for the police, why would their private conversations still sound frightened? It doesn't make sense because they did not know they were being recorded.
Yeah.
Believers consider this one of the strongest pieces of supported evidence. Skeptics counter that frightened people can still be mistaken, and that an emotionally convincing tape is not the same thing as proof of extraterrestrial contact, which it's not. I mean, it's not. But here's the thing. These two men believed something happened. What?
She's so cute.
What's she doing?
She's sleeping. She got her face against the wall.
Oh. Poor baby. She sleep all the time. It doesn't prove anything. But why would they be so scared? Like, they went through something. I don't know what that something was, but they experienced something. You know, was it like a gas leak that fucking knocked them out? You know, and they had these weird ass dreams. Like, they went through something.
But they have similar ass dreams?
Right. They went through something, okay? The chief investigator at the sheriff's department famously told reporters that the men were not lying, or at least that, quote, whatever it was real to them, which, like, is what I've been saying this whole time. Reuters preserved that remark decades later, and it has become one of the most quoted lines in this case. That sentence is important because it captures the middle position many officers ended up taking. They were not endorsing alien abduction as a fact, but they were persuaded the men were sincerely distressed about something.
Yeah.
So, as it tends to do, the story spread fast. Associated Press and Reuters both describe how once Wire's service picked it up, the case became national news real quick. The men were reportedly checked at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi and cleared of radiation. Well, yeah, it would have to be in Biloxi. I don't think there's one in Pascagoula. And they did that because it's military. Yeah. It's a military base. And, you know, anything dealing with like UFOs or aliens and stuff automatically defers to the military. And they were cleared of radiation exposure, so it wasn't any kind of radiation or maybe harmful gas or something like that, like I was saying. Mm-hmm. Investigators and UFO researchers descended on the Gulf Coast, including J. Allen Hynek and James Harder, who interviewed the men separately and in later retellings under hypnosis. Their involvement pushed the case from a local oddity into national UFO history. Later local reporting says investigators were on record saying the men's story never wavered, and WLOX says both men passed lie detector tests and were questioned under hypnosis. That didn't change. Until the day they died, that never changed. That said, the exact polygraph history is messier in skeptical literature than in believer literature. Some believers cite past tests. Skeptics note disputes over who administered which tests and how meaningful the results were. That's the thing with polygraph tests. They can give you an idea that someone might be telling the truth. They might be lying, but because they are so unreliable, that is why they're not admissible in court.
Yeah.
They're just not. Now, when you're trying to find the baby daddy cheated, Maury is on the case, Jerry Springer, it's valid enough, okay? But it is not admissible in court. It is not recognized in the judicial system. It's just kind of giving you a general idea. Now, if they fail it horrifically, then you can do a little more investigating. You can kind of figure out what's going on, but you cannot provide that polygraph result in court as part of your case because you will be laughed out of court.
Yeah.
Now, if that polygraph was like, he was not here at this time, this alibi doesn't check, everything he said appeared on the polygraph as a lie, then you can get more in depth and get them on something else. But that polygraph test, it's just a general idea.
Yeah.
So whether or not they passed it, didn't pass it, it's just a generalization, but most of the reports say they were factual. They did not, it wasn't.
They're like, we're sticking to the story?
Yeah. I mean, and it might not be a story. This is this is their truth.
This is what happened, and we're sticking with it.
Yep. It is safer to say the case attracted the full menu of UFO era credibility checks, recorded interviews, medical and radiation checks, hypnosis, and polygraph talk, without implying those things settled the matter. So even though they went through all these things, there was no verifiable proof, so they can't prove it. But they can't disprove it.
Exactly.
So here we are. The national exposure also produced an explosion of secondary reports. AP says the incident became, which is Associated Press, says the incident became one of the most widely examined cases on record and contributed to a wider wave of UFO reportings. That kind of ripple effect is common in famous sighting cases. Publicity itself generates more reports, more memories, more claimed witnesses, and more interpretations. And so now we're going to kind of get into corroborating witnesses.
Okay.
People who saw similar things on the same night at the same time in the same area. Okay. So a major later point in the story involves Maria Blair, a woman who decades later said she had seen a strange blue light over the river on the same night. WLX reported that she stayed quiet for 45 years, so she did not come forward until 2019.
Yeah.
For fear of ridicule, but then decided in 2019 to come forward after seeing renewed media coverage, because that's when Parker decided to start speaking out. Her husband, Jerry Blair, said he used to tell her not to talk about it because people would think she was crazy. Maria said she came forward to help validate Parker and Hickson's story. This kind of delayed corroboration is tricky. For believers, Blair's story is powerful because it appears independent and because it emerged from the same local geography. However, for skeptics, the long delay weakens it since memory can be reshaped by decades of retellings, which is true. Still, it becomes important in Pascagoula's local memory because it made the event feel less like an isolated two-man account and more like a pair of a broader, strange night on the river. Still, it became important in Pascagoula's local memory because it made the event feel less like an isolated two-man account and more like part of a broader, strange night on the river. So, I get it. In 2019, I think people were a little more accepting of UFO encounters and stories and beliefs. Not back then.
No.
So, the Pascagoula case never lacked skeptics. The Associated Press notes that from the beginning, skeptics included law enforcement personnel and later writers who tried to poke holes in the story. One skeptical line argues that Hickson embellished parts of the account over time and that Parker's youth and distress made him susceptible to suggestion. Another proposes that some or all of the events could be explained by hypnagogic or dissociative episodes rather than an actual encounter with a structured craft. Aviation journalist Philip J. Klass and investigator Joel Nickel are among the best-known skeptics associated with the case. Later summaries say that Class pointed to inconsistencies and was unconvinced, while Nickel argued that the case could reflect a waking dream or altered state interpretation.
But the fact that both of them had the same fucking...
Right. Well, kind of, because, again, remember they said that Parker stated that at some points he blacked out.
Yeah.
So there's that. These skeptical readings do not erase the witness's distress, but they do challenge the leap from, quote, the men were genuinely frightened to, quote, therefore extraterrestrials were present. And again, like I said, I don't know if they were there, but we do know without a doubt something happened to these men. They experienced something. That tension is really the heart of Pascagoula. Even many skeptics concede that the men seemed very upset. The dispute is over what caused that upset. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. They believed it was that.
Yeah.
You know, and they went through something. They experienced something, and that should not be diminished. Believers say that enduring consistency, secret room tapes, and the men's long-term suffering point toward a real anomalous event. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The story, like I said, the story's never fucking changed.
Pretty much.
Skeptics say sincerity and strangeness are not the same as proof, and that sincere people can misperceive, misremember, and mythologize intense experiences. The aftermath shaped both men differently. Hickson became a familiar figure in the UFO circles and national media, and he seemed to have embraced that role more readily. Reuters says that he never backed away from the story, appeared on television, and published a book. The Associated Press says he told the story to anyone who would listen until his death in 2011. That persistence made him, for many, the durable voice of Pascagoula. And again, remember, the friend that I have, they said the family did not talk about it. He talked about it, but they were just kind of like, removed themselves, like, from the situation.
Yeah.
So, again, Parker, by contrast, became the witness whose silence became part of the evidence people argued over. The Associated Press reported in 2013 that the incident, quote, turned his life upside down, and Parker himself said, quote, this is something I really didn't want to happen. WLX's 2023 retrospective coverage reinforces that image, saying he stayed silent for decades before finally publishing his account and speaking publicly. His story therefore acquired a different emotional tone, less showmanship, more reluctant witness, seeking later recognition. By the late 2010s, Pascagoula itself began to honor the case more openly. The 2019 historical marker at Lighthouse Park mattered both culturally and personally. Parker said it meant a great deal that his family and Hickson's family were there too. Hickson's son said his father would have been proud to see it.
Aww.
Those reactions show how the case had moved locally from pure ridicule into something more complex, part mystery, part civic legend, part memorial to two men who never escaped the night on that river. The Pascagoula sighting survived not just because it was weird, because it was pretty weird, but because it had nearly every ingredient that keeps a UFO case alive: a dramatic setting, working class witnesses, immediate reporting, law enforcement involvement, a hidden tape, national press coverage, later investigations, local folklore, skeptics with plausible objections. I don't know why I said it like that. Plausible objections, and witnesses whose lives seemed permanently marked by the event. The Associated Press described it as one of the most high-profile UFO cases in American history, and local Mississippi coverage still treats it as a story that will never die. But if you strip away the arguments over aliens, what remains is still compelling. Two men went fishing on a Mississippi riverbank in 1973 and came back terrified, embarrassed, and convinced something impossible had happened.
It's like, we're just trying to fish, man.
Hickson carried that conviction publicly to the end of his life. Parker carried it more privately for decades and returned to it later in life with the need for closure. And I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I so get it. I probably would... I'd be Parker. Like, I wouldn't talk about it. And not just because of how people would perceive me, but it's trauma. Like, if something traumatic happened, I don't want to talk about it. I want to work through it on my own. And then, like Parker, way later in life, when I'm more confident, more comfortable, and I've processed it the best I can, and as long as I can, then I'll discuss it.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So yeah, that's a little interesting tidbit about Mississippi, Pascagoula. That's like 30 minutes from here. Yeah, and last week before that, I saw all over Facebook. Does anybody else see this UFO? It was a blimp, a migration blimp from Mexico or Roswell or something. But it looked like a UFO. People were posting pictures of it, and it just looked like this big, shiny silver object in the sky, but it was a blimp. So, guys, with that said, that is all for today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to visit HauntFest. Go to the events if you can. I know they've got one coming up this month.
Yes.
And then I don't think it get until like September, between September and November, and then somewhere in December. So it's kind of like throughout the year. But anyway, go and show them some love, like on their webpage. If you guys have been, leave like a good review, anything like that. You can find us on Patreon. You can subscribe to the free tier, and it'll let you know when our episodes actually post. I know we say Monday, Thursday, but sometimes it's Tuesday, Friday. Sometimes it's Wednesday, Friday. I don't know.
Sometimes it's whenever.
I have a life. This is a big part of it, but I have a bigger part that does not involve the pod. And I do my best. I do what I can. It's like a one-woman show as far as like the editing and shit goes, because it takes me forever in between trying to also work and take care of a house and kids. And I need to find someone who will do this for free for a while. But good luck with that. You guys can email us at hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. You can email us like suggestions if you have your own stories, or just to say hello. Or,
yes.
Or if you want to sponsor with us, be buds, we boot up. We have like a poly couple kind of thing, polyamorous relationship with businesses. I'm not a one company woman. Okay. And then facebook.com/hauntedandhomicidal. Always, we have pictures up every episode of kind of what we're talking about, remembering the victims, cussing out the suspects, looking at these cool, neat little castles that don't have the ghosts in the pictures because for some reason they don't exist. So there's that. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.